Okay, I apologize for the crappy lighting. Just doing the best with what I got here. It's going to be a couple weeks before I can start doing some of the training videos like I had hoped to. I had to order a new battery for my camera, so until that comes in, use the camera on my computer is kind of the best I got. But hopefully those videos will be a little bit less awkward than these are, and hopefully over time I can get a little bit better at this whole stare at the green light on the top of my computer thing and not have my eyes darting in every other direction. Um, anyway, last week was one of those weeks where it just seems like nothing's going your way, and as it kind of continued to compound on itself, I found myself getting more and more frustrated and kind of more discouraged with a lot of stuff, with my workouts, with some business endeavors I'm attempting right now, and it was like whatever I was doing, my head was somewhere else. And so anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit today about motivation, and actually kind of elaborate rather a little bit on the conversation. I don't remember if I had mentioned, but conversation that I had with a good friend of mine a few weeks back that really was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of me starting to create some of these videos. But he reminded me of a conversation that he and I had years ago about a free writing that I had posted on my Facebook page. Something to the effect of how we are all essentially limitless and can achieve anything we want to achieve if we truly want to achieve it. And that largely it's a matter more of desire and willingness to be consistent and believe in ourselves than it is so much our actual limitations. And that most of our limitations in life are self-imposed rather than something that we're handed. And that's my personal belief. Maybe not everybody feels that way, but anyway, I'd had this it was a couple page free writing that I had posted on Facebook, and it was essentially an extension of a rant that I had just had with one of my clients back when I was personal training. And it wasn't real well received by some people. They kind of talked about how, well, I remember one person in particular made a comment like, well, I'm however old and this and that, and if I wanted to look like you, I couldn't look like you. And he and I kind of went back and forth a little bit. But to me, I guess the concept is, if that was really a goal of yours, you'd be a lot closer than you are right now, and you wouldn't be telling yourself that you couldn't. You'd be attempting it. You'd be pursuing it. So the fact that you're not attempting it, that you're not pursuing it, and that you're nowhere near that goal, not even in terms of how you eat or getting a gym membership near that goal, then who are you to say that it's something you couldn't do? How do you know? And how do we know unless we pursued it? How do we know unless we pursued it relentlessly? And even if we're not there after 5, 10, 15 years, how do you know you could never do it? And that was kind of my point with the writing, and not to say that people can achieve everything that they ever hope to, but there's always a potential, and you never know if you could achieve it if you quit. So and that was kind of, I guess, the gist of, I believe, my writing was that the only thing that should ever stop us from pursuing our goals is death. And until we die, that there's nothing to say that we couldn't achieve it, because as long as you got another day left in you, you have another day left to potentially achieve that goal. And so this conversation with my friend about that, and he and I were kind of going back and forth, and him siding a little bit more with the person who wasn't so fond of my free writing. And so I just made the comment to him, like, there's so many facets of life that you can work toward improvement in, that I think it's fair to say that throughout our lives we could always continue to improve in at least one of those. And as long as we attempt to improve in at least one of those, even if just a little bit, then we're probably going to improve in one of those. And as long as we're making some improvement in some aspect of our lives, and if we continue that until we die, then we are all essentially limitless. And anyway, it was just kind of, it was my thought process, but apparently it was something that he said really stuck with him, and he's really kind of held on to and just changed his way of thinking a little bit. And I just thought it was so cool that, a good friend of mine, just through casual conversation and partly me venting a little bit because, I get so frustrated when people do doubt themselves. Even though I doubt myself, we all doubt ourselves. I think it's natural. But anyway, that through this casual conversation, I said something impactful to him, and I'm like, holy crap, that's pretty cool. And then I remembered, I'm like, that's why I liked training when I used to train, and that's why I wanted to, or one of the reasons I wanted to kind of start doing this, and hoping that maybe there'd be another person or two out there that might say, hey, I like that thought process, or hey, that's a different way of thinking about it, or whatever it is. And so anyway, as I'm kind of having all my frustrations and everything else, I remind myself of the lectures I've given clients, the lectures I've given friends and family, and then just the conversation that I've had about how these adamant thoughts and feelings that I have about motivation, our ability to achieve whatever it is we want to achieve, and saying things to my clients like, if you want to reach the stars, shoot for the stars, and no matter what, you're going to get closer than if you didn't. And just whatever it is, and these little whatever. But I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm frustrated and things aren't going as how I'd like them to with these business endeavors I'm looking into, and I'm still trying to figure out the whole diet to actually make progress again with my workouts while maintaining remission off the meds, and this stinks and this and that. And then I'm like, but who cares? No matter what happens, as long as I go in, every time I'm trying to work anything out with this business, if I go into it with the mentality of I'm going to do the best that I possibly can, and no matter how negatively things go, I'm still going to give it my best effort, and I won't stop giving it my best effort. And then when tomorrow comes, I'm going to continue down that path. I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve, or at least I'll get closer than I would if I let it get to me. And the same thing with my workouts. Things aren't where I want to be with my health right now, but as long as I go into the gym and I just go in there, one, reminding myself that I'm doing it because I love it. I'm not doing it for any other reason besides I love it. And so just go in there and have fun and be passionate about it. And same thing with this business idea. It's something that I think I would really love doing. So remember that I'm doing is, all of it, everything that I'm doing, my whole life path right now is because it's stuff that I'm passionate about. And so just to remind myself of, no matter how bad things are, give it your best. Do the best that you possibly can today. And even if it's not as good as you want it to, it's still going to get you a hell of a lot closer to where you want to be than if you let that, not as good as you wanted it to be get to you, and you don't even do the best you can today. I don't know if any of that makes sense, or if it just sounds like nonsensical rambling, but yeah. Anyway, kind of going through all that in my head, and it got me to a pretty good place today, just to remind myself of, my best right now isn't even near the best it's been with my workouts, and my best right now isn't anywhere near where I want it to be with this business venture, but it still beats not giving it my best. It still beats going into things distracted. And so I had a pretty good day today, and I just felt good. I felt positive, and I don't know. That's about it, I guess. I kind of wanted to share that thought process. So have a good day, everybody. Have a good night. And if anybody has any questions, or rather anything that they would like me to talk about, or for future when I can start doing some of the workout posts, anything that they'd like me to demonstrate, or any sort of preventative stuff go over. As I mentioned, I do have a lower back injury. If that's something that people want to know, some of the rehab I used to do. I don't do any rehab now, but the rehab I used to do was all basically transverse abdominis activation was the big thing, and then just being real cautious, trying to do a lot of isolated movements, avoid anything to strain my lower back was the gist of it. But if anyone wants me to go over any of that, shoot me a message on Facebook. Just let me know. On my Facebook page, like my athlete page. I don't check my personal page all that often anymore. I have an app on my phone for the athlete page that gives me constant notifications and stuff, so I try and stay a little more up to date with that. My personal page, I still have to log in on because I don't like the Facebook app for the personal page. I don't like it, and so I don't use it. But anyway, yeah, that's about it, and yeah, see you next time.